everyone, and welcome to a new vlog. I'm enjoying a morning cup of tea and I'm very happy to report that the sunny, crisp weather is still continuing in Yorkshire. It is very cold, but I'm really happy by the lovely sunshine, and I'm going to be taking advantage of it a bit later this morning because I have quite a lot of photography to do today, and it's so much easier when there's lots of natural light. So I'm very happy about that. But I wanted to have a little chat with you first about what I'm going to be reading during this vlog, because obviously in my last video I finished Wintercombe and told you all about that, and last night I picked up the Martlet Box by Jean Ross, which was one of the books that I wanted to read in January. And this one is set in Edinburgh. It's a children's book and it's a very slim read. I fancied something just very light and quick after Wintercombe, which was over 600 pages, and I did really enjoy it, but I thought a nice slim book next would be good. And so far I'm really enjoying it. I think this was first published in the sort of 70s. Actually the 80s. It was first published 1987, and it starts off on a cold January day in Edinburgh, and two young boys who are cousins are being told a very strange story by their great uncle, and he tells them about an extraordinary experience he and his sister had when they were children in this same part of Edinburgh. They both somehow found themselves backwards in time in the city, and there they had a very strange encounter with someone that gave them an old box. When they found themselves back in their own time, which was 1918, they discovered an unusual substance within this box that could appear and reappear wherever they wanted it to, and that could sort of change form as well. The great uncle, now an old man, is telling the two young boys about this very odd experience, and they're rather skeptical at first, but they decide to go and pay a visit to their grandmother, who also lives in Edinburgh, and to see what she says about this strange tale. So I think this is going to be a real time slip novel. It's got a great feel for January. Obviously, Edinburgh is pretty cold that time of year, so there are some good descriptions of a sort of cold and snowy Scotland, which I really like. It's nice to do a bit of Scottish-inspired reading with Burns Night coming up, I think, next week, so I'm pleased to have a Scottish book on my reading list this month. And I do love time slip stories. There are lots of children's books that I enjoy that have that element of a time slip. Probably my absolute favourite in the genre would have to be Tom's Midnight Garden. That's just one of my all-time favourite books. This one I'm enjoying so far. It's quite fun to be reading it after having just reread The Box of Delight over Christmas, because of course that story also features an unusual box that has magical properties and a time slip element a bit to that story too. So that's kind of a nice link to a book that I just read recently, and so far I really like the setting of Edinburgh and I'm intrigued to find out more. So I haven't read that far in it yet, but I look forward to hopefully reading a lot more this evening. And then I think once I finish this, which I should hopefully do pretty quickly, I want to read The Willows in Winter, which is a sequel written by William Horwood to Kenneth Grahame's very famous The Wind in the Willows. And I'm looking forward to getting to this one ASAP too. So yes, some really nice reading plans, I think, for the few days ahead, and I look forward to sharing my thoughts on these books as I read them with you. But anyway, I'd better get on with my morning now, as I do have quite a lot to do today and I want to take advantage of the sunshine as well. I just got a delivery of this rather massive box of books from HarperCollins, which I'm really excited to get into. It's a bit banged up. I hope the books are okay in here. But I thought I'd do a little unboxing with you. HarperCollins are doing a giveaway with me, and they let me choose 10 books from their website. And these books they're going to do as a giveaway. I'm not hosting the giveaway myself. They're hosting it, so I'll put a link to where you can enter the giveaway in the description box. I'm actually doing this for Instagram, but obviously I wanted to share it with my YouTube followers as well. So we'll get into the box and you can see what 10 books I chose. How exciting. Just open it up. As you can imagine, it was hard to choose from the website, but I got this one, this beautiful HarperCollins edition of The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. I don't have this one yet, but I have all of the others, I think, in this hardback series. They do such beautiful editions of Agatha Christie books. So I'm thrilled to be able to add this one to the list. And I also got this one, A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting. The season is about to begin and there's not a minute to lose, by Sophie Irwin. This just sounded quite fun. It says, Kitty Talbot needs a fortune. Rather, she needs a husband who has a fortune. This is 1818 after all, and only men have the privilege of seeking their own riches. With just 12 weeks until Kitty and her sisters are made homeless, launching herself into London society is the only avenue open to her, and Kitty must use every ounce of cunning and ingenuity she possesses to climb the ranks. The only one to see through her plans is the worldly Lord Radcliffe, and he is determined to thwart her at any cost. It reminds me a lot of Georgette Hare, Bridgerton sort of vibes as well, but I'm curious to see what it's like, and I was hoping it would be just quite a fun, light read, especially with February in mind, a sort of light romance, which I imagine this is. Just sounds like it could be fun, so I chose that one. And then I chose this gorgeous book. That's such a lovely cover. Heart of the Sun Warrior by Su Lin Tan, and this is the sequel to Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which I've spoken about on the channel before. My mum really enjoyed reading that book. I still need to read it, but I've got the sequel in anticipation because I'm sure I'll enjoy the series. So I was really thrilled to get the sequel. Looking forward to that. Then I chose this beautiful book, Secret Gardens by Claire Massett. And this showcases lovely gardens in the National Trust. It says, an enchanting book celebrating the hidden gems of the National Trust. From specially made secret gardens to overlooked corners of famous landscapes and rediscovered lost gardens. I think with this giveaway and selection of books, I was just trying to choose ones that really reflect the sorts of books that I love. So some literature, some Agatha Christie, some books about beautiful gardens. There's a cookbook in the mix as well, which is right here. And that's Let's Do Lunch by Georgia Levy. I was actually looking at this in a bookshop the other day and thought how nice it looked, but I didn't buy it at the time. So I was really thrilled to be able to choose it for the giveaway. This looks like it's got lots of nice simple recipe ideas for lunch, or in my case for sort of light suppers. They look really, really good. So I loved the look of this cookbook, and I also do like to take the time, especially on the weekends, to make a bit of a nicer lunch. I think that's just such a nice tradition. So it's nice to have some inspiration for delicious lunch recipes, and I just thought it looked like they had some really good ideas in this cookbook. So I was thrilled to get that. I chose another cookbook too, and that's One Pot Pan Planet by Anna Jones. It's a greener way to cook for you, your family, and the planet. And I thought this one looked really good. I love sort of one pot meals, and it looks like there are some good ones of that type in this cookbook. I have another of Anna James's cookbooks, which I do like, and so I was really happy to get this one as well, which is really gorgeous, and it really sort of highlights a lot of delicious vegetarian recipes as well. So I think this will be quite an inspiring cookbook, so I'm looking forward to being able to cook from this. And then again, sort of showcasing the things I love with the books that I chose, I got this lovely hydrangeas book. So it showcases all sorts of different varieties of hydrangeas. It's photographed by Georgiana Lane, who has a lovely Instagram account. I interviewed her a couple of times in the past when I had a podcast, and she's so lovely. I met up with her in London when she was traveling to the UK, and it was so lovely to meet her. But this is one of her books that she's photographed that I don't have yet, so I'm really thrilled to have got it now, and it's just stunning. There's some beautiful photos in here, and I absolutely love hydrangeas. So yes, another book that highlights one of my loves, which is definitely flowers. I like that I've got some fiction, some cookbooks, some gardening books, floral books. And then I also, oh, this one's fallen out of the little slipcase already. But I also selected some of the gorgeous Harper Muse books. So this one is The Wizard of Oz. You can see the painted cover is just stunning, and the gold-edged pages. I've been collecting these Harper Muse editions. I think they're so beautiful, but I didn't have The Wizard of Oz yet, so I got that one. And then I also got a couple more, so I'll take the little slipcase off so you can see the covers better. This is Frankenstein, which is another one I didn't have already. But here's the beautiful cover. Very atmospheric, isn't it? I love that one. So I got that, which I was thrilled about. And then I chose one more Harper Muse edition for the giveaway. I do actually already have this one myself, unsurprisingly, because it's Persuasion by Jane Austen, probably my all-time favourite novel. So I couldn't resist this stunning edition of it. I love that scene that's illustrated on the cover. That's just so beautiful. But I thought I'd get an extra one, because I'll probably do a giveaway myself of this extra edition that I have at some point. But yes, so you can win all 10 of these books, which I think is so lovely. I mean, such a fabulous stack of books, and you can win all 10 of them. It's UK based, this giveaway. Like I said, it's being hosted by HarperCollins, so you have to check out the giveaway. I'll put the link in the description box if you wish to enter. I'll also be mentioning it on my Instagram, but it won't actually be done by me, it's done by HarperCollins. However, I'm really, really thrilled to have got these books, and I can't wait for the giveaway to see who the lucky winner will be, because I think these are really, really lovely. Anyway, I've got to get going now. Mum and I want to take advantage of the lovely sunny weather still. We're going for a little bit of a longer drive today to find a new bookshop. It's a bookshop I read about in a magazine. It's called, I think it's called the Wonky Tree Bookshop. And apparently it only just opened in North Yorkshire last September. and it just sounds really charming. Of course, I always want to check out bookshops too. I'm always excited when a new one opens sort of in our area. So I want to go along and have a look at it. And on the way there, I think we'll try and stop for lunch somewhere. There's a lovely little pub that we took my dad to when he was visiting us in October, and I'd love to go back. So I think we might just pop in for a little pub lunch on the way, and yes, hopefully do a little bit of book browsing, maybe even some book shopping this afternoon. We'll have to see, but I'm excited. So we are back home after a really lovely afternoon. I'm warming up now with a hot chocolate because I got very cold. We had a really lovely walk at Javaux or Jarvis. I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced around here, but Javaux Abbey or Jarvis Abbey, which was on our sort of way back home. And we've been wanting to go there for ages, and we decided sort of spontaneously to just drop by and have a walk around, as it was such a lovely day and it was just stunning. I so recommend going if you're in the area. It was such a peaceful, beautiful place. The atmosphere was incredible, and I really want to go back all through the year to see it through the different seasons, because it just felt very special, very tranquil place, and both Mum and I just loved it. So we really enjoyed wandering around the Abbey ruins and taking in the beautiful views, but we got pretty cold, so I'm warming up. I've made lovely hot chocolate, so good. I'm using actually the hot chocolate mix that I bought in Bath, you might remember from my Bath vlog before Christmas, and it's really tasty, and I've added a little bit of caramel flavouring to it, and oh, it's so good and so warming, so really enjoying this right now. But yes, we had such a lovely afternoon. Lunch at the Blue Lion was superb. I so recommend that place. It has such good food, the ambience is lovely, they had a roaring fire. We got really nice and toasty warm in there actually. It was so cozy, so much fun. Well, lunch was delicious. I really recommend their Sunday lunch. We had that when I took my dad there when he was visiting us, and that was so good. But also just their standard lunch menu is really, really good. We chose steak frite because that's not the type of thing we tend to cook at home. So it was a real treat having it out, and it was just delicious, really perfectly cooked. Oh, really, really tasty. So that was lovely. And then wandering around the little village, which is so charming, where the pub is, that was lovely afterwards as well. We walked down to the church, and again there were just beautiful views, so we really enjoyed that. And then we went along to the Wonky Tree bookshop and had so much fun visiting there. I'd read about this bookshop that had opened and really wanted to go and support another local Yorkshire bookshop, so I'm glad we were able to get over there. And I did want to buy something to support them, so I picked up a couple of things. Just get them here. So I really like these Candlewick Press little poetry books. This came in a wrapper because, so I've just unwrapped it to show you. So it sort of comes with an envelope and a matching bookmark, and the idea is that you send one of these little poetry booklets instead of a card to someone. But I must admit, I like collecting them for myself, and the Wonky Tree bookshop had quite a nice selection of these Candlewick Press little poetry volumes, and I picked up 10 poems about love, because I'm already planning things for Valentine's coming up and the kind of photos I want to get. So I thought how attractive this little poetry volume was. So I was really pleased to get this, and I love the little matching bookmark. I think that's so sweet. So I picked that up, and then they had a really nice children's section in the bookshop. I was really impressed by their children's books, and I decided to get a children's book that I've had my eye on for a little while. This was just published in 2022, and I think it's a kind of retelling of The Little Match Girl. It's called The Little Match Girl Strikes Back, and it's by Emma Carroll with illustrations by Lauren Child. It says, Bridie works hard to feed her family, selling matches on the streets of Victorian London. After an incident leaves her with only 3 matches left, the magical strike of each one sees her tumble into visions of a brighter future. Realizing she has the power to change her own fortune, Bridie leads the match factory workers out on strike, achieving the remarkable through their unity and courage. And it says it's a defiant and empowering retelling of the classic you thought you knew, based on real life events. So that sounds really good. I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, I might put it away for next year because it starts on New Year's Eve. So I might read this more at kind of Christmas, New Year's time. Later this year, but I'm sure I will enjoy it. Emma Carroll wrote a modern sequel to Journey to the River Sea, which is Eva Ibbetson's very famous children's book. I think Emma Carroll's book was called Escape to the River Sea. And I think she's a really good writer, and this is her sort of new children's book. So I'd been really curious to pick it up, and I finally did at the Wonky Tree Bookshop. So I was really glad to get it. And yeah, the illustrations in it look really good as well, so sort of atmospheric. I think they really add a lot to the story. That's lovely. But yeah, I think I will probably save this one for Christmas, but I think it's just such an attractive book, so I was really thrilled to pick up the hardback. But anyway, I'm going to get on with some video editing. I'm doing that a lot of evenings right now with keeping up with all of the vlogging. So I've got to do a bit of that. And I'm going to have my hot chocolate while I'm doing it, which will be lovely. And then I also want to try and finish the Martlet Box this evening too. So I'm going to do some reading as well. Just have a nice quiet evening. So I'll see you again in the morning. Hi everyone, so it's the next day and I did manage to finish the Martlet Box last night, so I thought I would tell you about it. I was a bit disappointed overall, which was a shame. The second half of the book really just didn't do it for me. I thought the story got more and more peculiar and I couldn't enjoy it that much. I don't know if it's the type of book I would have liked as a child, because in some ways the story was quite exciting and maybe as a child I would have got involved in that, but it just doesn't stand up to an adult reading. I think especially after having only very recently read real children's classics like The Wolves of Willoughby Chase and The Box of Delights. I mean, those are so good and they stand up to adult reading so well. This just doesn't really cut it, so I was a bit disappointed. I did like the Edinburgh setting. It did make a good January read because it was very sort of snowy and atmospheric in that way. So I enjoyed those aspects of the book. And some parts were also quite unusual. It's a bit strange. Often in children's literature, all the adults make themselves very scarce. And as is usually typical, no parents are really involved in this story at all. But rather more unusually, a great uncle and grandmother very much are involved in all of the action of this story. And you do meet them as very young characters, but also as much older characters. And I just found their involvement a little bit strange. The great uncle character especially seems never to have got over his crush on Mrs. Clark, who is this sort of immortal guardian of the good in a way. And he's a bit of a strange character, and his involvement and his sister's involvement is just, I don't know, it just comes across as a little bit odd in the book. So it's an unusual one. I'm still glad that I read it, but it's not a favourite, that's for sure. And I think what irritated me most actually about this story is there's one sort of young female character in the book, and she's portrayed in a very obnoxious way. There's really not much to her character. She just makes herself a bit of a nuisance to the two boys who are the central characters in the story, and is needed to be rescued at the end of it, and that seems to be her main purpose in the book. So she wasn't the best character, and I found that a little bit frustrating. So I liked the Edinburgh setting, I liked the sort of snowy, wintry feeling to the book, but not a big favourite, which was a shame. But now I've moved on to The Willows in Winter by William Horwood, which I also just started last night. I'm only on page 46 at the moment, but I'm really enjoying it. I love the illustrations in the book. They're by Patrick Benson. And there's a wonderful snowy start to the story with Mole and his nephew who is visiting, getting on Mole's nerves a little bit. They're sitting very cosily by their fire, enjoying some bread and butter pudding and some sort of sloe and blackberry gin or something like that. And it sounds so cozy and idyllic for winter. But then a young visitor appears and Mole mistakenly thinks that he's been sent by Ratty and Otter because they're in trouble. So he sets out into a blizzard and all goes wrong from there. But it's just a very sweet story so far, and I'm really enjoying this sequel to The Wind in the Willows, written by William Hallwood, who I think does a very good job at imagining the world of The Wind in the Willows and how that world might have continued past the original story. I also absolutely adore the end papers on this book. I think that those are just stunning. So I'm enjoying this. Of course, I have to read 450 from Paddington as well, because the Comfort Book Club discussion is next week. So I'll also be moving on to that soon, but I'm hoping to finish this first. So those are my reading plans for the next few days. But I got some exciting post that I thought I would tell you about. So the British Library republished Golden Age crime books. They're called the British Library Crime Classics, and they very kindly send me the new books in the series when they come out. So I've got this one, Death of an Author by E.C. Lorac, which sounds really good, and I really like E.C. Lorac's mysteries. E.C.R. Lorac, sorry. And my mum really loves them too. She's always very excited when I get new British Library crime classics because she loves to read them too. And Lorac is a real favourite of hers. This one sounds really good. It says, Vivian Lestrange, celebrated author of the popular mystery novel The Charterhouse Case and total recluse, has apparently dropped off the face of the earth. Reported missing by his secretary Eleanor, whom Inspector Bond suspects to be the author herself, it appears that crime and murder is afoot when Lestrange's housekeeper is also found to have disappeared. Bond and Warner of Scotland Yard are set to investigate a murder with no body and a potentially fictional victim, as E.C.R. Lorac spins a twisting tale full of wry humour and red herrings, poking some fun at her contemporary reviewers who long suspected the Lorac pseudonym to belong to a male author. Of course, she was a female author. So that sounds really, really fun. I'm looking forward to this one. And then the other one is Death of Mr. Dodsley, a London biblio-mystery. So this says, Mr. Richard Dodsley, owner of a fine second-hand bookshop on Charing Cross Road, has been found murdered in the cold hours of the morning. Shot in his own office, few clues remain besides 3 cigarette ends, 2 spent matches, and a few books on the shelves which have been rearranged. I do always enjoy a biblio-mystery, so I'm excited by this as well. So that was some lovely posts to get. And then I got another book that was very kindly sent to me by the publisher. This is coming out, I believe, the 19th of January, and it's called Au revoir now, Darlint, The Letters of Edith Thompson, and it's edited by Laura Thompson. Laura Thompson is no relation, by the way, but she's written wonderful biographies of Agatha Christie and Nancy Mitford, and this is her latest book, and it sounds very interesting. I have the British Library Women Writers book, A Pin to See the Peep Show, which is about Edith Thompson, and I haven't read this yet, but I really want to. I have to get to this maybe in February, because this sounds very, very interesting. It's based on a true crime story. I'm not really a fan of true crime. I don't read much true crime. I don't watch any of those TV shows that are true crimes. That's just not really my thing. But I am interested in this because I really like Laura Thompson's writing. I am interested in reading A Pin to See the Peep Show, which is meant to be very good. And the case of Edith Thompson is quite intriguing. It says 100 years ago, on the night of 3rd October 1922, a 32-year-old clerk named Percy Thompson was stabbed to death as he walked home to his suburban villa in Ilford. With him was his wife, 28-year-old Edith. His killer was Edith's lover, Frederick Bywaters, a merchant seaman aged 20. Bywaters was hanged for murder on 9th January 1923, so too with Edith Thompson. And it says that even though there was no evidence that she was involved in the killing, planning the killing even, she was convicted because what condemned Edith were the letters that she had written to her lover, which were interpreted by the law as incitement to murder. And it says that the letters have never been collected together in print until now. And in this book, Laura Thompson gathers the letters together alongside illuminating commentary to tell the story of an ordinary life and an extraordinary imagination that ultimately led to appalling tragedy. So I am intrigued by this. Like I said, I'm not really a true crime person normally, but I think I will enjoy this, and it will certainly make fascinating reading, I'm sure. And I like the fact that I can incorporate reading this with reading a fictional book based on these events that I've been wanting to read for a while too. So I'm intrigued by this. But anyway, those are the books that I got in the post today. Really lovely, and my reading plans for the next week or so ahead. But I'm going to finish off this vlog now. Thank you so much for watching. Extra big thanks for the lovely comments on my last vlog, and very big thanks to those of you who pressed the super thanks button on that vlog. Your support is always so very much appreciated. But thank you for all of the support from people who like and comment and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I hope you've been having a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you again on Thursday for the Comfort Book Club discussion of 450 from Paddington. I'm looking forward to it. Goodbye.